There are some things that only Sigma men understand. From their eccentricities to their strange behaviors, because they are the world's rarest species of male, there is always something new to learn about them. People are not used to such personalities, and Sigma men are often misinterpreted. While some of their habits may be unusual, they typically have a perfectly excellent rationale for doing things the way they do. You won't want to miss this, whether you're a Sigma yourself or simply interested in what makes them so special. Here are 12 strange behaviors that all Sigma guys do that no one else understands. 1. They avoid excessively talkative salesmen to the point of leaving the shop empty-handed. When it comes to shopping, Sigma men like to examine their alternatives and make their own decisions without the help of others. Sure, if they have a question, they will seek assistance, but most of the time they want to figure things out on their own. They despise being pushed into purchasing anything to the point of leaving the shop. If they are frequently pursued by a salesman who is attempting to chat with them, they realize that it is part of the work, but they would like to be left alone. They despise it when individuals attempt to sell them their items by describing every detail or using high-pressure techniques. Sigma guys value efficiency, therefore they will swiftly walk on to another shop where they can buy what they need without listening to all the sales pitches. If you're trying to sell anything to a Sigma, you should be direct. Simply provide them with the necessary knowledge and let them make their own decisions. If they need further information, they will request it. 2. They are usually seated in the rear of the room. Sigma guys dislike being in the limelight and prefer to stay towards the back of the room, where they can see everything without being recognized. This allows them to study and observe events without being distracted. They are not attempting to be antisocial, rather, they want to fit in and avoid being the focus of attention. Sitting at the rear, like dominant guys, permits them to make a speedy departure if necessary, which is always a bonus. They may simply sneak away unobserved if they are in the midst of a dull meeting or conference. Unless they have anything essential to say, they will keep mute. People sometimes mistake them for being quiet or indifferent, but the fact is that they are so perceptive that they frequently know more about what's going on than anybody else in the room. This sort of person is always listening and absorbing things in, but you'd never know since they're so quiet and blend in. It's just their method of gathering information and avoiding unwanted encounters. 3. They may not always appreciate praises. It's not that Sigma guys don't like hearing positive things about themselves. After all, it's pleasant to be acknowledged for accomplishing something well, but praises may seem like a trap at times, or the delivery can be off-putting. Sigmas are frequently quite modest and do not need external reinforcement to feel good about themselves. They recognize their own value and do not need validation from others. They also dislike it when individuals attempt to butter them up or flatter them in order to obtain something from them. This, in turn, is a tremendous turnoff for Sigmas, who will soon see through it. While compliments are intended to make people feel good, many Sigma men dislike being told they are clever or talented. The majority of them are already aware that they are intelligent. What makes them happy is when others listen to them and take their counsel. It's okay to congratulate a Sigma now and again, but do it sparingly. If you compliment a Sigma all the time, they may not take any of your compliments seriously. 4. They don't always grin, despite the belief that Sigma guys are usually serious and never smile. This isn't always true, they just don't see the value in always smiling, as other individuals do. This does not imply that they are sad or are not having fun. Sigmas are often highly internal. They are not the sort of individuals that feel the need to express their feelings all the time, and they are sometimes misunderstood as disconnected or aloof. When they are really deep in thought, they are processing things inwardly and prefer to keep their ideas and emotions to themselves. Sigma doesn't need to smile to say he's having a good time. While alpha guys are generally vocal and boisterous, he is perfectly satisfied enjoying the moment without trying to share it with everyone around him. Sigma males are quieter and more introverted. 5. They shift their walking path to avoid running into a loudmouth. Big mouths are a huge problem for Sigma guys because they are always talking, eager to be the center of attention, and never seem to know when to quit. They're rude, noisy, and just plain irritating. If they get involved in a discussion with one of these individuals, it will be quite difficult for them to exit and squander their time. So they go just across the street instead or do whatever it takes to avoid them. Sigma men respect their time and would prefer not to squander it on individuals who drain them of their energy. They don't dislike talking to people, they simply prefer to chat with those with whom they have interests. Many people interpret this behavior incorrectly and believe that Sigma guys are snobs, but they really despise small chat and anything that seems like a waste of time. We've all met that person who only wants to hear themselves speak, and Sigmas would rather avoid them at all costs. 6. That they despise being alone with dull, undramatic individuals. Nothing is worse for a person than being trapped in a room with someone who has nothing fascinating to say or who is continuously talking about their troubles. Life is too short to spend time with those who sap our vitality. Sigma guys love to be around individuals who are intriguing and inspirational, and make them laugh. They need to be in control of their surroundings and do not want to be lured into a scenario over which they have no control. They are often self-sufficient and dislike being around needy or clingy individuals. While this may seem to be a frigid way of looking at the world, it really makes perfect sense. When you consider that Sigmas are often successful and do not want anything or anybody to stymie their advancement. 7. They may disregard phone calls. Because Sigma guys dislike conversing on the phone, they may let calls go to voicemail or perhaps ignore them entirely. They would rather text or chat in person since it is more efficient and eliminates the need for extra niceties. The small conversation is not their thing, therefore they like to go right to the point. Although this may seem impolite to others, it is only a choice. The Sigma males are attempting to be disrespectful. They're simply not interested in chatting on the phone all the time. If it's essential, they'll respond, but if it's not, they won't waste their time. Don't take it personally if you're attempting to get a Sigma. If he does not pick up, it is not because he dislikes you, rather, he works on his own terms. He will not adjust his schedule or plans to accommodate you, so sending him a text is your best choice if you want to contact a Sigma. That way, he may work on his own time and on his own schedule. 8. They tell no one and everything to a select few. Sigmas are exceedingly picky about who they admit into their inner circle. They don't open up to just anybody, they only express their ideas and emotions to those they trust. They are highly private individuals that prefer not to disclose too much about themselves to others. This is because they understand that not everyone is worthy of their confidence. They've been burned before by individuals they thought were friends, so they're picky about who they allow into their life today. They prioritize quality above quantity. When it comes to friendships, Sigma guys are very loyal and will go to great lengths for those they care about, but they will not hesitate to take someone out of their lives if they believe that person is poisonous or destructive to them in any way. This is unlikely to happen often, but when it does, the Sigma will never look back. 9. When the doorbell rings, they pretend they are not home. Sigma guys are masters of discretion, so it's no wonder that they often avoid answering the door when the doorbell rings. Though they don't know the individual, they'll normally behave as if they're not at home to prevent any unwanted encounters. They use this to avoid salesmen or other solicitors, but it may also be a means of maintaining their privacy. This does not imply that they are paranoid, they just cherish their privacy and alone time more than the majority of people. They dislike being interrupted when they are concentrating on something or don't feel like chatting. As a result, they'll often employ this method to remain in their own little world. Although it may seem impolite to others, it's really a fairly clever approach to prevent any unwelcome disruptions. People don't normally take like to being ignored, but Sigma guys don't mind. They aren't being rude, they are just concentrated on something and don't have time for small conversations. 10. They will not leave their house till their neighbor has left. While some individuals appreciate having near neighbors, Sigma guys prefer some separation. They value their privacy and despise the sense of being watched. As a result, if they see their neighbor leaves, they will normally wait a few minutes before leaving their own home. This is not to say they dislike their neighbors or are antisocial, but they are sick of being asked the same things every time they see them. Sure, it's good to talk for a while, but sometimes you simply want to get on with your day. The last thing you need is a long boring talk about your work, the weather, or anything else you don't care about. 11. By being alone, they replenish their batteries. While alpha men like to be in the limelight and surrounded by people to feel good, Sigma guys are the polar opposite. They often feel depleted after being with people for too long and want some alone time to replenish their batteries. This is why they are often portrayed as lone wolves. They do not need the approval of others to feel whole or happy. Sigmas are quite pleased to be alone and often find consolation in nature or their own thoughts. This is because they can recharge their batteries and go away from the world's noise and chaos. They may clear their brains and return feeling revitalized and ready to tackle anything. Many people consider being alone to be a terrible thing, but for Sigmas, it's a vital aspect of life since it helps them to recharge and feel better than ever. 12. They like to observe rather than participate. While some may see this as a bad feature, Sigmas often prefer to sit back and watch. They would prefer to see other people interact than engage. This is due to their interest in understanding how people function and what inspires them. They like to sit back and take everything in rather than being in the midst of the action. This is not to say that Sigma does not like participating in events, they just prefer to do it on their own terms. They don't want to be pushed into anything and want to comprehend what's going on before jumping in. We have 2 ears and 1 tongue for a purpose, and Sigma guys live by this credo, preferring to listen to others rather than speak about themselves. They may learn a great deal about individuals just by listening to them and observing their body language. This allows them to better comprehend individuals and determine what they want or need. Thank you for sticking around to the end. I hope you liked the video. Please keep in mind to like, subscribe, and share. Also, remember to click the notification bell to be alerted anytime we post anything new. Goodbye.